Hello, microphone check 1 2 1 2. Can you hear me? Welcome to Atomic Movie Reviews Film Society. I'm your host, Atomicon Rex. Here we discuss films that have a narrative background in aliens, ghosts, robots, and creatures. And today's movie is A Knock at the Cabin by M. Night Shyamalan. It came out in 2023, and the main star is Dave Bautista. So without further ado, let's just jump into it. What are some of the plot and narrative predictions? My plot and narrative prediction, I thought it was just going to be your home invasion movie with a twist, being that M. Night Shyamalan was going to be in it. So I knew there was going to be a twist in it. I figured, the little girl would escape somehow and come back and kill those guys, or she ended up having superpowers or something like that and pop their head open or something like that. That's where I was going with the whole plot prediction. Okay, so what genre is it? It's gonna be fantasy, thriller. I'm gonna have to put it in a fantasy thriller. I mean, it's definitely a cybernatural movie, and I would put it in the category of maybe batteries not included. What are batteries not included? That's the genre that when the supernatural interacts with technology. And so in this film, there's a supernatural event happening. And in order for them to try to convince the people that they have tied up that it's a real supernatural event, they use the TV to confirm the prophecies. And so that's how I interpreted the batteries not included. Cinematography. It's live action, straight to the point. It's filmed in a cabin, live action. There's not too much CGI. There's not anything else. It's straight to the point. It's not an original work. It's based on a book written by Paul Tremblay. The name of the book is called The Cabin at the End of the World. So M. Night switched up the title a little bit, but it's not an original work. It's not one of his works. It's based on a book. Set design. Everything was practical. Like I said, it was based in the cabin. I'm sure the mass destruction and all of that was CGI, but you can't really tell because you're watching it on a screen through another screen, so it doesn't really matter. Plot conventions that I noticed in the film. There's a suicide cult in it. A suicide death cult. At least that's what I thought. And they don't really have too many movies like that here in the States. They do have them in J-horror and that whole genre, where you'll have one movie, I can't think of the name of the movie, but you had these teenage girls who formed a suicide death cult, and they basically walked out to the subway holding hands, chanting, and they all just jumped at the same time when the train was coming. And so the movie was based on that and how that became trendy. So they filmed it on YouTube, and then other kids started forming their own suicide death cult and walking off buildings and everything like that. So that's what that movie was about. That's kind of where I thought this was going. Just by the way that the invaders were acting, I actually didn't go that way. Okay. So, characters. Let's talk about the characters now. Hero. Well, Andrew is the hero. He's the non-believer in the movie. I think he's a lawyer. He's like a prosecutor. And so, but he's definitely the one, he's the hero. Every time they, grab his daughter or their daughter, he's the one who's most animated about protecting her and, trying to wiggle out of his restraints. He's the one that gets the gun. He's the one that, I think he shoots both of them. I think he shoots two horsemen, basically, with a gun. How everything, fell apart towards the end. but he's definitely the hero in the movie. So the villains are the horsemen. They're the ones that broke in to this person's cabin and tied them up and started sacrificing each other. So they're definitely the villains in the movie. And I'm going to put the man in the mirror, as the villain in the movie too, because he is pulling the strings. Whatever it is, it's there, okay, pulling the strings. It's just nobody can see it. And there's a movie trope, at least when it comes to supernatural movies, with the mirror. Okay, so you may not be able to see the ghost with your own bare eyes, but you could probably see the ghost through the mirror, and that happens a lot. Like it's reversed with Dracula. You know, you can see Dracula with your bare eyes, but you can't see him in the mirror. So, you know, and every other movie, even Hellraiser, last year, the one that came out on Hulu, they didn't see the Hellraiser at first, but she could see it through the real view mirror, and even their whole dimension. So that, you know, that is a TV trope, and I think it was done well here. It was done well, like, you know, because you really don't know if this guy's just crazy, or if he hit his head really, really hard and he's just seeing things, or there really is a supernatural entity in the room. Another thing about the horsemen is that you notice when they're like under like a spell, it seems like they're possessed, because when they start doing the ritual sacrifice, they're very robotic. Okay, and then after the sacrifice is done, like one of them starts crying, the other one starts throwing up. So it's clear that they're not the ones doing it. That something is hijacking them, like some form of technology, and is using them to perform these acts. And then when it's done using them, it releases them, and they're able to take control of their body again. At least that's what it looked like. Okay, moving on. Damsel in distress. That's Wynn. That's their little girl. Like, clearly, she was the first one who came across the horseman. She was the first one that warned the parents, the fathers, about the horseman. She's not tied up because she's, you know, a little girl. She's not really a threat to these guys, so they don't tie her up. But she's definitely the plot point. She's definitely the damsel in distress, because it's about saving her, and they're trying to. The fathers are trying to get her out of the cabin, but the horsemen feel that everybody in the cabin has to stay until the sacrifice is done. Okay. And so they end up sacrificing each other in front of this girl, and, you know, so that's another thing why they're villain. I mean, that's child abuse. So they break into a cabin, breaking and entering, they tie these people up, kidnapping, and then they start murdering people in front of this child. Child abuse. Like, these guys are definitely the villain. Anyways, I digress. All right, so the weapons. They were all holding, at least the four horsemen, they were all holding, I guess, some sort of farming tools. I didn't really recognize them. Like, I didn't recognize like like a rake or anything like that. They looked weird. They didn't look like any farming tools I knew. But that's what Leonard, Dave Bautista's character said. He said that they were just farming tools. And then you had the couple who had a gun, but the gun was locked up in the car. And then what other kind of weapons did they have? I mean, if you want to... Okay, so you had the horseman, the fathers that had the gun, and then you had the man in the mirror, which is, no one's really talking about him, okay? And his weapon, I would say, are the plagues themselves, because he does unleash the plagues on mankind as a punishment. So, He probably should have his own category. Actually, now that I think about it. Well, anyways, that's all the weapons I could think about. It was the plagues, the plagues were weaponized. They used the guarding tools and everything like that to break into the house and defend themselves. And then the fathers, they had a pistol. They had a regular, 9mm or something like that. Motor transportation. They had a Range Rover. The fathers had a Range Rover, but the horsemen did slash the tires when they approached the cabin. But I can't think of, besides a Jeep, I can't think of any better vehicle that you would want for the apocalypse besides a Range Rover. You do want a 4x4 with plenty of cabin room. Okay, locality. It was basically all in the woods and the forest. There was a couple flashbacks. I think there was like a school scene or a bar scene, stuff like that. But most of the movie was based at the cabin. Okay, number 8. Did the actors seem believable? Everybody knocked it out the park. I was really convinced. Everybody was giving Dave Bautista's, I'm probably butchering his name, and he was a good actor. But Redman or Redburn, whoever the guy with the red hair was, I think he was one of the best characters. I was convinced that he was really like grieving, okay, because they're basically going to commit suicide throughout the movie. Sorry, spoiler alert. So it was like I saw the anguish on his face, and the hopelessness. Basically you're trying to convince people to kill the people that they love, so you don't kill yourself. It's an impossible mission. It's an impossible mission. And I can see that on his face. So, Skittles to him. Okay, number 9. What was the cultural impact of the movie? Did it break any new ground? I'm going to have to give this one up to M. Night Shyamalan. This was a piece of marketing genius. I know everybody on the planet, maybe not everybody, but large swaths of the planet are thinking we're probably going through some biblical crap right now. 1 or 2 bad things happening, okay, but it seems like a lot of bad things are happening all at once, and like somebody just flipped a switch, and then we're really dealing with the apocalypse. So why he would make a movie about that right now, okay, ruffled my feathers a little bit, okay, because I'm watching this movie and I feel really, really uneasy watching this movie. I wanted to turn it off, not because it's a bad movie, but because the emotional stakes right now is just almost unbearable, okay? And the images that he was portraying in the movie, I could have swore I just saw that on TV last year. So, marketing genius, because everybody's feeling some biblical things right now. Okay. So, number 10. Rating system. Okay, so we're approaching the end, guys. Sorry. We're approaching the end. All right, so the rating system. I'm still working on that. I haven't really worked that out yet. But this is definitely a must-see. You have to see this one. Okay, I was debating on myself on... I have a top 3 M. Night Shyamalan movies. I think it's probably the same top 3 for everybody. But now, I have a new top 3. Okay, and I don't know which one to kick off. So much so, I might just bring up another category just to fit this bad boy in there. But it's definitely one of his best, if not his top 3. I mean, Sixth Sense, you can't really beat that. That is his number 1 movie. But this is definitely a runner-up. Okay, so Definitely a must see. All right, so summary and recommendations. Okay, so what we talked about today was A Knock at the Cabin. Came out in 2023. Was directed and filmed by M. Night Shyamalan. The genre I placed in it was Batteries Not Included. That is when the supernatural interacts with technology. Some of the examples I gave was them using the television to confirm their prophecies, and also the man in the mirror possessing the humans themselves and using the human beings as a technology. I streamed it for $19.99. I thought it was worth it. I think it's worth $20. You could probably go to the theater. I was thinking about going to the theater to watch it myself, but I don't think I had to, actually. It was a piece of marketing genius. Like, there's a lot of biblical related themes in it, especially right now. I'm sure what's going on in the world is what gave him the impetus to create this film. So Atomicon Rex does recommend this bad boy. All right, have a good day. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.